All right, as promised, some word problems. Now, I want to give this a little bit of introduction. Do not get overwhelmed. These seem challenging. You read them, you hear some crazy things, you see some crazy formulas, you read some crazy words that you might not understand. That's okay. It is totally fine. You don't have to understand what this is talking about. You might not know anything about skydiving. You might not know anything about meteorologists. You don't know anything about circuits and voltage and watts. You don't know, neither do I. That's fine. I promise you, you don't need to necessarily need to understand the words. You just need to know where the different pieces fit into the puzzle. So here we have a problem about a skydiver jumping. I always like this one because I want to go skydiving at some point. And we have two variables. We have t and s. And it says that the time it takes, that's t, to free fall is given by the distance estimated by this formula, where t is our time and s is our height in meters, right? So if Julie jumps from a plane, how long will it take for her to fall 750 feet? Interesting. I think we have a little error there. I'm just going to change that feet to meters, okay? So it should be the same. I'm not don't want you to convert there. So meters all around. So all we have to do here is literally we just gave you who S is, right? We just told you that S is 750 meters. So guess what? If we know that S is 750 meters, all you gotta do is plug it in. So this is literally the easiest thing you'll do. It's going to be T equals massive square root of 2 times something over 9.8, and that something is our 750 meters that we are up in the sky, right? So literally sometimes we will just give you the number to type straight in. And so that's what we do. We just pull up Desmos and we type that straight in. Now, type your SQRT first, then the fraction sign. Remember, you get the fraction sign by pressing the question mark key. It's got that forward slash. Now you can type it in 2 times 750 all over 9.8. So there we are. How many seconds do we have of free fall? We have about 12.4 seconds of free fall. 750 meters isn't incredibly high. So that's about 12.4 seconds where we can free fall before pulling the parachute cord. So very, very easy. All you're doing is plugging that value in. Okay, keep it simple. I want you to try this one. In this case, we're giving you the diameter of our storm. We had a pretty big storm not too long ago. All right, plug that in. That's all you've got to do. Figure out what that value will be. All right. It might be, though, that you'll have to do a little bit more solving. So here's one that has to do with voltage. The voltage of a circuit is given by the square root of PR. And PR is our power, which is watts, and our resistance, R, which is ohms, right? So it says that if the voltage of a circuit is 120, so what we just did was it gave us V, right? Our voltage is 120, and that produces 150 watts of power. Well, that just gave us P. Question is, what is R? Right? We don't know what R is. So what we have to do is plug in. Our voltage is 120. So 120, I'm plugging that in right here to V. And then my power is 1,500 watts. So I'm plugging that in for P. Right? So 120 equals the square root of 1,500 times what we don't know is we don't know the resistance in ohms, right? And now we've got this equation that we can solve just like I taught you in the previous video. The radical is already isolated, so step 1 is done. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw these in the parentheses and square, right? When I do that, I'm left with 1,500 R because the radical disappeared. When we square 120, that's quite a large number. When we square 120, we're left with 14,400, right? 14,400. And the last step we got to do is just divide by that 1,500, right? So when we divide both sides by 1,500, relatively easy there. Type that in if you need to. You're left with 9.6 ohms, or R, resistance measured in ohms. So pretty basic. Either We're going to give you a number to plug straight in this case D, in this case our meters S, or we're going to give you numbers to plug in, but then you have to do a little bit of solving to actually figure out what those values are. Okay? So I want you to try another one. This one's about the speed of sound. You're going to be plugging into V, and you're going to figure out what time, how, what would the surface temperature, not time, but surface temperature of the Earth's surface be. And it's pretty self-explanatory from there. We gave you plenty of practice problems. Please don't do all of them. Please don't do all of them. Do a few. Make sure you're comfortable. Do a few more word problems. Make sure you're comfortable there. And then once you're good, you are good to go for today.